Don't you have games that you wish you could completely forget they ever existed? Not because you hate them, but simply because you wish you could once again experience them for the first time? One such case for me is a 1999 puzzle game published by Microsoft and designed by the legendary Alexei Pachitnov, the man who created Tetris. In order to strengthen their catalog of games for the then young Windows operating system, Microsoft hired Alexei sometime in 1996 so that he could lend them his puzzling genius. Until going their own separate ways in 2005, Alexei worked on titles like Hexic, as well as the Microsoft Entertainment packs. And then in 1999 there was Pandora's Box, a game from the depths of my oldest video game memories. I first played the demo around the time my family first got a computer, and I remember something like a face rendered in good old late 90s 3D technology showing up on the screen and getting fascinated by it for reasons that I either never understood or just don't understand anymore. It was a magical time when I barely knew anything about computers or video games, and a time where something as simple as looking at a stretched out low-resolution image of an object could incite feelings of wonder and mystery. Man, sometimes I wish I could go back. It wasn't until a few years later that I finally got to play the entire thing. Then years later, once I had forgotten about most of it, I got the urge to boot it up again and the magic was still there, even if it didn't shine quite as bright anymore. And now it shines a bit brighter because growing up happened and the way I feel about things continues to change, I guess. The story is that the gods gave Pandora a fancy puzzle box that housed the spirits of chaos and mischief, and of course it was opened. As a result, the 7 tricksters were unleashed into the world, and being the cheeky cunts that they are, they screwed up pieces of art all over the world. So now you have to put them back together and then lock the tricksters in the box again. This is based on the famous Greek tale of Pandora's Box, where the first woman on Earth was given a box that contained all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can produce. Actually, it was a jar, but anyway, being the stupid bimbo that she was, she had to go and open the damn thing, unleashing hatred, death and probably COVID-19 as well. The gameplay involves searching for the tricksters one by one, and for each you get 5 areas to explore. And by explore I mean solving puzzles. You have 10 puzzles in every area, but only one of them has an item required to progress, which is randomized every playthrough. Once you find the 4 items, you unlock the final area, and once you find the trickster, you can try their challenge. Complete it, and the little sucker gets dumped back into the box. You get a free puzzle token every 10 puzzles you clear, or when you beat certain puzzles within a time limit, while others give you hint tokens. If you feel like you're stuck, you can use these tokens to solve one step or even skip it altogether, so it's not like you need to clear everything yourself to beat the game. So yeah, let's talk about those puzzles. Focus Point is a very straightforward puzzle where you have to put each piece back in its place. This is somewhat spoiled by how pixelated and stretched the pieces look in each location. Rotoscope is a bit trickier, with multiple circular layers that must be rearranged to form a picture. It looks rather intimidating at first, but there's definitely a method to moving the pieces around how you want them. Keep in mind that the picture must also be standing, so if you get everything right but it's sideways, then tough luck, try again. Overlap requires you to place every piece in the right location and angle. You can rotate the pieces in 90 degrees, and it's called overlap because each piece can overlap another piece of the puzzle. You can also guide yourself by the background, as some of the pieces include part of it too. Chessie's strips is similar in that you have to place different pieces that can overlap each other, but it instead uses long strips of the picture shown through 5 different color filters. There's also no background to hang on as a clutch. Image hole, more like image asshole, has a few shapes moving on top of an obscured picture, and you have to click them when they pass over the corresponding part of the picture. It gets a bit annoying, and all you can do is change the speed at which the shapes move, or set a waypoint for them to move towards. For some reason, it's also the only puzzle with a fail state, forcing you to restart after 3 mistakes. This only serves to waste your time, since you already know where some of the shapes go anyway. Slices gives you a bunch of pieces that must be connected in the right order to form a 3D model. You can flip and rotate them, but obviously they'll only connect from the right angle. Outer layer gives you a 3D model with parts of its outer layer missing textures. You can view the model from 4 different angles, and the missing textures can be placed and rotated in 90-degree angles. Find and Fill asks you to paint a part of the reference pictures. You can use multiple colors at once, but each silhouette must be painted in a single color to register. Lens Bender gives you 6 lenses and a bunch of pieces that must be sequentially connected to the starting piece on the center lens. Each lens shows the pieces from a different angle, and you must find the right angle to send to the center. Interlock gives you 7 shapes that must fill all the empty spaces in the picture, and they can be rotated and placed as you wish. Some puzzles have bits where only one of the shapes can logically fit, but you'll quickly find out that this is way harder than it looks. The puzzles themselves are all well and good, but what gives the game its special flavor is the context in which they are presented. Each trickster is based on a legend related to the places you visit, told in short narrated chapters as you find the items. After finishing a puzzle, you're also given some basic information about what weird piece of art you're even looking at. There's some pretty unique stuff here, like the Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Apu of fish, or the
change Bottom's head into that of an ass
legend. Catching the tricksters is just an excuse to travel to every corner of the world and discover what they look like, what the people do in their free time, and to see what architecture and sculptures they've created over the years. It's like you're going on an adventure or a vacation. Hey, I know this place. Combined with the soft music and the short duration of most puzzles, Pandora's Box is a rather chill experience. The puzzles aren't super easy nor super hard, and you rarely have to stop to think for more than a couple of seconds at a time, so you're always making progress. Well, at least early on. And besides, you're not forced to do the puzzles you don't want to. That's what the free puzzle tokens are there for. You get a constant stream of them anyway, so it rarely feels like you hit a wall and that all your momentum gets grinded into a fine paste together with your brain. Plus, unlike doing a puzzle in real life, the game tells you if you goofed up, preventing frustrations like placing half the pieces on the table and then realizing you just wasted hours of your life doing something wrong. This is all why I wish I could experience the game from a blank slate all over again. Even after years, there's always a vestige of the answers and pictures remaining in my brain, and that removes a bit of the mysticism hidden in the puzzles. Even though they're both considered puzzle games, there's a significant difference between Pandora's Box and games like Tetris or Columns. One has more than a single solution and is infinitely replayable, while the other is more like those jigsaw puzzles that you solve once and then you're done with it. Pandora's Box is also an example of a game that, quite literally, hasn't aged well. It's old, and the low resolution of the assets sometimes makes it hard to tell what it is you're looking at. You can brute force most puzzles if you really want to, but sometimes you just can't figure out where to start. And it's not always just because of the player being a brainlet or anything. Find and Fill suffers the most, where the tiny thumbnail sometimes makes it borderline impossible to tell whether you're looking at 2 separate shapes or if it's just part of the background. In Slices, you're better off just doing trial and error with certain pieces, and Lens Bender is pretty much a lost cause. And it's not like the other puzzles aren't already ballbusters by themselves later on. Focus point and overlap start easy, but on the last 2 trickster hunts they have a ton of little details squished into tiny pieces. In fact, the last 3 trickster challenges come dangerously close to being straight up dickish since they feature multiple puzzles in one go. Monkey's challenge begins with an overlap puzzle that is actually a scrambled focus point puzzle, and since this is the first time it happens and the game doesn't tell you, it just looks like an indecipherable mess, and I don't blame anyone for using their tokens to skip it. These factors combined make the final section of the game start dragging a bit as some puzzles start taking as long as 20 or 30 minutes, so clearing a single puzzle starts feeling like a hurdle. Ultimately, Pandora's Box could really use an HD remaster, not just for the sake of having higher resolution assets, but also so that it would be more easily available, since it's not available for digital purchase anywhere. The possible reason for this is that the rights to use the photos in the puzzles have likely expired by now, since a lot of them weren't taken by the developers, they were simply licensed from many different people. And of course, some places just don't look the way they used to anymore. Creating new high-quality models for Outer Layer is one thing, but trying to get a high-resolution photo of some place that might not look the same or might not even exist anymore is a different story. Thankfully, the game is still completely playable on Windows 10, with the only annoyance being the slices puzzles always crashing when you finish them the first time. To solve this, just save the game before the last piece, then load the game again and finish the puzzle like normal. Either way, yeah, if you're a fan of this kind of puzzle, I absolutely recommend this game. Dedicated puzzle video games are a dime a dozen, but there aren't many quite like Pandora's Box out there. And when all is said and done, the box is locked away once more, awaiting the day it is opened again.